that is what we need to pass on to the next generation when we show them something that is really worth fighting for. Who has been the director of this campaign and to whom we owe so much success in this campaign. Frank Schubert.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. Sonia, thank you for your wonderful, warming remarks. And let me begin by saying you see a number of leaders of different communities, different faiths, different backgrounds, different ethnicities. Standing behind each and every one of them are thousands and tens of thousands of people who have walked precincts, who have phoned voters, who have prayed, who have contributed money, who have given up their hearts to stand up for traditional marriage, and those people deserve to be respected. The battle over Proposition 8 was a hard-fought battle, an intense, passionate battle. Nearly $80 million was spent on this campaign, roughly in equal terms, $40 million each side. For months, California voters heard from both sides, and 10 days ago they gave their decision, and they passed Proposition 8. That is what elections in this country are about. Proposition 8 passed with approximately 52.5% of the vote, which is a slightly higher percentage than Barack Obama achieved nationally. Now, our opponents do not like the outcome, and that is to be respected as well. They fought hard, they feel defeated, and that is understandable. They are organizing protests, and that is their right. They are filing lawsuits, and that is their right. What they don't have the right to do, however, is to harass and intimidate people.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. Let's try and keep the applause to a minimum so we can get the points out that's important for the American people to hear. And why we're ultimately gathered. What they don't have a right to do is harass and intimidate people. They don't have a right to blacklist and boycott our supporters. They do not have a right to deface our churches. They do not have a right to destroy our businesses or people's reputations or their livelihood. And they do not have a right to commit acts of domestic terrorism against our supporters. Now, that's strong words, and I'll come back to that. That is the ugliness that is playing out. If this were an isolated incident, it could be explained away as passion boiling over, but unfortunately, it is not an isolated incident. It is part of a pattern of abuse and harassment that has been going on for over a week. A Catholic church in West Hollywood had its doors smeared with dog feces the day after the election. A manager of the El Coyote restaurant, as Sonia mentioned, in Los Angeles, has been targeted for harassment. Gay activists have shown up to boycott and protest her business. Her business is being destroyed, and she fears for her life. In Sacramento, the owner of a family ice cream store who contributed money to our campaign is being boycotted, even though his business gives money to gay pride activities. The artistic director of the California Musical Theater has been forced to resign because of the threat of a nationwide boycott of the theater by writers and producers, including the creators of Hairspray and Avenue Q. This 25-year employee of the theater was targeted because he gave a single $1,000 contribution to our campaign. He was one of 70,000 people. and now his livelihood has been destroyed. In Carlsbad, volunteers with the Knights of Columbus were prohibited from conducting their annual fundraising campaign on behalf of mentally retarded children, where they asked patrons in front of an Albertsons store. They've been doing this for years. When protesters showed up, the store shut it down and they refused to allow these volunteers. So the cause of helping mentally retarded kids has been sacrificed on the altar of gay activism. Most troubling, the anarchy of our opponents has now escalated to include acts of domestic terrorism. Yesterday, the Knights of Columbus National Office in Connecticut, as well as the Los Angeles Temple and of the Mormon Church and the church's headquarters in Salt Lake City, received envelopes mailed to them containing white powder. Whether these envelopes contain anthrax or some other deadly concoction is not known, but is being investigated by federal authorities. But what is known is that these cowardly acts are intended to terrorize people. They mean to frighten and to intimidate the people who supported Proposition 8 and those who have stood up for traditional marriage. This is the very definition of terrorism, and that is what is occurring in California today. Much of this is happening by hate fueled on the internet, from nameless, faceless activists who gather on social networking sites. Their hate and prejudice is fueled with each passing protest and each passing day. It is a wildfire of hate growing out of control. Amongst all this lawlessness, this harassment, this trampling of civil rights, and now terrorism, one thing stands out: the deafening silence of our elected officials.
Yeah.
Not in elected official has spoken out to condemn this activity. Whether you agree or disagree with Proposition 8, surely you ought to agree that the Bill of Rights in this country means something.
Yeah!
Where is Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah!
Where is Senator Dianne Feinstein?
Yeah!
Where are the people who represent us in government, no matter their position on Proposition 8, to stand up for the rights of the millions of Californians who have done the one thing we ask and teach our children, which is to participate in the democratic process, to stand up for what you believe in, to show up to the polls, and to have your vote counted. Where are they now?
Yeah.
A couple of the representatives that are here from different cultures and faiths. We'd like to start with Minister Ed Smith from the Zoe Christian Fellowship at Whittier.
While our church is majority African American, we have other nationalities that attend our church. But I've heard much about the concern and really negative statements directed toward the African American community that supported Proposition 8. And we find that offensive. Every African American that voted for Prop 8 were not necessarily Christians, but African American people have strong family values too. Not an issue of race to us, but like other communities, we want to protect our families and our community. Unfortunately, over the years, for many, many years, too long, the African-American families have been weakened by single-family households. It drives families into poverty. And when you have, if you allow gay marriage, that would make it more unlikely for a man and a woman in the African-American community to be married and support a family with husband and wife together. And so we want to support family, all families, but also there's a sensitivity to the African-American community, but somehow other people don't understand. So it's because of our values for strong families, and we want to strengthen our families, and anything we would do to undermine that, we don't want to do that. We want to support efforts that will support and strengthen families We're here to support marriage between a man and a woman only.